Hello. I am just going to put this into view. There we go. I have not used slideshows since school, and that was a very long time ago. Anyway, a warm welcome to the Consistency Club, which I have just named because I thought it is like the perfect sort of title for what I want to get you guys for you guys to get out of this program. So this is an 8-week program of group coaching. The idea is that I am not looking for perfection. Like, perfection doesn't exist, and that is the complete difference between this program and any other cookie cutter 8-week program that you might get. Is that the idea is that in the 8 weeks we're going to find the habits that I need you guys to be consistent with, but find a way that it's actually going to be implemented into your life and that you can keep up with it. So you might find that the first week of you doing something, you might not hit any of the targets I need you to hit. That's why we've got a structured program to be able to come up with the actions and come up with the strategies that we need so that we can get 1% better every time. And that is the key. It is not about being perfect. It's about recognizing what's not working and what we can do. And that's where the group coaching really comes in handy. It's the fact of like, you come up to me and you say, this isn't working. And I say, okay, I look at it from a 10,000 feet view and go, okay, from, past experiences or from like coaching other people, from my experiences or from the science, I think we should try this. You go off, you try it, it doesn't work. We come back, it does work, great. And that's the whole idea. So moving on to, sorry, I'm just getting used to slideshows. So my coaching ethos is to help you lose weight sustainably and change your behaviors and lifestyle so you can maintain your weight loss and live a happy, healthy life. So I know that was a mouthful to say, but the thing is that Slimming World, Weight Watchers, as much as they have the benefits from that like group coaching side, this is why I do like group coaching. Do you like group coaching? It's really, really good English. That's why I'm a fan. And for anyone that does know me, I am an online fitness coach that specializes in women's fat loss. I predominantly I only do one-to-ones at the moment, but I thought, what, let's spread the message. I am so passionate about all of this. I'm so passionate, and it's getting better, but it's still overall quite a taboo subject. But I want to just like help as many women as possible. So that's why you guys are involved in this program. But what I'm getting at with this is that Slimming World and that has the advantages of being in a group, which is shown in the research to help really well with like any goals, especially weight loss. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't help you to keep the weight off. You think Slimming World, like hands up if you have been on Slimming World. I certainly have in my past. I think I enrolled like 3 times, and that's what they want you to do. They give you enough that you lose weight, but they don't give you the information and the actual sustainable habits and the behavior implications that you need to actually keep the weight off, because they want you to come back. They want you to pay that £10 joining fee. They want you to buy their magazines. They want you to buy those silly bars that you have that is like one of them's a half of a healthy extra brie or whatever they are, and then you eat them and you're like hungry like 5 days later, like 5 minutes later. They want you to do that. That's part of their marketing strategy. Now, I don't want you to do that. Like with my clients, I call it fleeing the nest. Like, I don't want them with me forever, because if they're with me forever, it means I haven't taught them how to actually be an independent woman on their goals. So that is what we're doing. The way that I coach you guys, the way that I implement like how I like to, calorie count, and I'll go into that in a second, and set you targets, is that these are like the habits that I need you to adhere to for the rest of your life, within reason. Like, of course, if you're on 1,600 calories, you're not going to be on 1,600 calories for the rest of your life. You're not going to be calorie counting for the rest of your life. But the idea is that you'll be aware of energy balance, getting your daily movement in, finding something like exercise that actually works for you, something you actually wake up to and enjoy. This is what I'm all about. So I want you to maintain your weight loss and live a happy life. I also want to help you build muscle for a strong toned physique. Most of you that sign up to me it's not the actual weight loss that you're looking for, it's that body. That's that body that you feel confident in. That comes from toning. Now, some coaches are like, it's not toning. I'm like, look, toning is the best way to describe it, right? It's when you feel tight, you have a tight body. That happens from fat loss, which we'll be doing, and in building muscle. Now, for anyone that's reading Building Muscle, and when I first started my coaching journey, when I first started the transition from actually losing weight and putting it back on, like the yo-yo dieting, to actually sustainable fat loss, I started building muscle, and I was terrified. I remember saying to my coach, I'm going to get bulky, and I'm going to say the same thing that she said to me: you won't get bulky. The way that you get bulky, the way that you see these athletes that jump on stage, most of them are on steroids, which is a whole different game. And the other one is that they're training 4, 5, 6 times a week. They're putting every single bit of effort into it. They're meal time, their whole life is dedicated to it. Yes, then you'll get bulky. If you're just lifting weights at the gym or at home or whatever you prefer, and you're just doing, 3-4 times a week, you're not going to get bulky. All you're going to do is look toned and freaking amazing. So that's some of my ethos. The other one is finding how diet and exercise can work for you. This is so important. I'm so passionate about this, which is there's only so much that I can do, that I can teach online. This is why one-to-one coaching really, really works for this, because the thing is that everyone is unique, everyone is different. So I've got some of you guys that are, full-time jobs. Some of you are teachers. Some of you work at university. Some of you have children. Like, there's so many different walks in life, and that, like, diet and exercise is going to be different for everyone. Some people have different preferences. Some people can't train in the morning. Some people can't, train like this. Some people don't like this. Sometimes it's simple as like just people don't like that food. So the thing is, there's no point in me saying this, what, and this, because it's not going to work. That's why being in a group environment, I will give you your structure. I'll give you all of your custom targets as well. But the main structure of the way that the coaching works, the way that we're going to get this is that you have your target, and if something's not working, you reach out to me or you reach out to the group, and we come up with a solution for you. And then it's finding balance with diet and exercise and overcoming the all or nothing mindset and the binge restrict cycle. Now, I want to say that when I say binge and restrict, I don't mean like binge eating. That is a completely different realm, and it is not in my scope of competency. What I mean by this is like the all or nothing, right? You're either on a diet, off a diet. The stereotypical Monday to Friday, you're eating really low calories, you're basically eating nothing, and you're restricting yourself deliberately, and then you go all out on the weekend. And this was definitely something that I was really, really guilty for, and it just didn't serve me. And I remember, like, it would always be takeaways. My partner would say, do you want a takeaway? And I'd be like, yeah. Or for me as well, when I was like between 18 and 20, I was like, I still like to party, don't get me wrong, but it was every week. And that was, going with binge drinking is a different story, but it was binging. It was, binging on drinks, binging on, the kebabs, and just going all or nothing, but then feeling really bad for it. And then, Sunday sort of being aware of it, and then sort of semi-restricting, but not being really, truly been able to, but then really restricting on the Monday. And then by Friday, I was just completely depleted. And I know this happens to a lot of women, and it makes me so sad. So the thing is as well, is that all or nothing mindset is so easy, because humans are not very good at finding that balance. We're just not very good at it. From a survival aspect, we're either doing something, we're not doing something. And that's where this all or nothing mindset comes from. To kind of like float in the middle means that we actually have to think, we have to be aware of things. And our body naturally does not want to do that. But the good news is that this is a skill that can be learned, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. That is the good news. And it will become second nature to you. Just like as you would wake up and you'd think, I need a glass of water, I need coffee, things that you're going to do, the habits you need to implement in order to get where you want to be, that will become second nature to you. And then, as cliche as it sounds, I just want you guys to become the best versions of yourselves. I know that is cliche, but it's so true. Like, weight loss is cool, like being in your goal body is cool, but also like how I want you guys to feel, like I want you guys to look and feel your best. So getting started, I want to say, well done for investing the time and effort into yourself. I know that sounds really patronising, but I had 40 people apply for this programme, and I've got 19 of you, as I say this right now, 19 of you have filled in that form. And at first, I'm not going to lie, I was very like, it was like 9 people in, and I was very like disheartened. I was like, why, like, is it something I've done? Like, why do people not want my help? And I showed my husband, and he was like, you know what, that is a big form that you've got them to fill in. Like, these guys are dedicated, they are dedicated to you. And he was like, you better do a good job coaching them. And I was like, no pressure. But it's so true. Like, you know what, like, investing time and effort to yourself is scary. It's not even, money is another factor, but I would say time and effort is more scary, because you're believing in yourself now. You're like, you know what, I'm in deep now, I'm doing this woman is going to help me, and I'm going to get where I want to be. And going into the mindset thing is a little bit called self-sabotage, but we won't dive into that too much. Maybe that's a real webinar during the weeks. Is that we are very good at self-sabotaging, even subconsciously. And to be honest, diets are really good at doing that as well. Like, subconsciously, we humans don't like, I'm diving into it now, just because I'm passionate. Humans don't like change. So we find ways to make sure that we're not changing. But of course we want to change. We don't want to live the life that we're not feeling comfortable in. But ultimately, our body knows that as survival. So actually saying, you know what, no, I'm going to put the time and effort into myself, that is a huge thing to do. And, I will mention it in this later on in this slide, but like, you are going to have to put the time and effort into it. It's not just about filling in that form. This is going to take dedication. Is it going to be impossible? No. Is it probably going to be one of the easiest diets you've tried in terms of like restriction? Probably. But it takes a lot. It's going to be a lot of self-reflection and a lot of like actually saying that I can instead of I can't. See this as a bet, and it's the best bet you can do. You know, the whole thing of like, it's not the process, it's the process, not the journey. No, so it's the process, not the actual thing that you want to achieve that's like makes you happy. And it's so true. It's not once you completed that goal, of course you'll be happy, but actually where fulfillment comes from, it's the process. So if you say to yourself, you know what, I believe in myself. If you're sitting right now and this is like the 5th diet or like the 100th diet that you've tried, and you actually want to make that change, and you're like, you know what, this woman, this little head that's staring at me is like telling me I'm going to do it. I'm telling you right now that if you put your heart and soul into this, you will get to where you want to be in 8 weeks. Well, not fully where you want to go, because you know it's not a quick fix, but you will be there. You will be in the next step ahead, and then you can only go forward from that, which I think is really fucking exciting. You know, this isn't a diet that you've done before. The Consistency Club focuses on imperfect consistency and implements an approach that allows you to live your life where fat loss happens, rather than having to put life on hold for fat loss. You think that is what we do, even like Slimming World to a certain degree, because like you can't eat out in a restaurant without having to eat a fucking jacket potato and white fish. Like the idea is that I teach you about balance. I teach you about your values. I teach you what's important to you, what's not important to you. And then we find a way to make this plan of action, and that we can be consistent and it works. You know, we're not cutting out food groups. We're not cutting out the glass of wine that you enjoy in the evening. The idea is you live your life. You live your life and fat loss will happen. And then it just so happens that is the key to sustainable fat loss, because it means you have changed your behaviors, and you don't need to, you know, as soon as you get to where you want to be, you're not going to just result back to your old behaviors and put the weight back on. My promise to you is that if you are willing to try, I will back you up 100%. I need you to say that I can. I need that I can attitude. If something arises and something isn't going to plan, I need you to say to me, one, I need you to reach out and say you're struggling, but two, I need you to say, you know what, no more excuses. Excuses are really, we're full of them. Humans are very good at them. You know, I had someone who signed up, and I sent them a message saying, hey, I haven't had your form. And, you know, it was just excuse upon excuse. And I was like, you know what? I said, look, I just don't apply. I said, I appreciate it, but just don't apply, because you haven't got that I can attitude that I need you to have, and that's fine. You know, you have to be there. I said, maybe next time if I do another one of these, maybe you'll be ready. So the point is that if you have the I can attitude, you will find solutions, not excuses. And I'm here to help you with the solutions. That's my job. I'm the coach. I am the second pair of eyes, or like, and a bird's eye view. If you can't do that, if you don't have that attitude of like, I'm going to at least fucking give it a go, then I can't coach you, and if I can't help you. So again, I know that sounds really harsh, but it's just because I don't want to waste your time, and you know, I want you guys to get the most out of this coaching. So the next part of this webinar is, well, not really webinar, is it? It's more of just explaining what the fuck you guys are going to be doing. The science behind the Consistency Club method. So I keep pressing my arrow, but you have to click it. So 95% mindset and 5% action. So that doesn't really make sense. But what I mean by this is that fat loss is 95% mindset, and then actually it's only 5% action. I can give you the best calories in the world. I can give you the most optimal plan. You know, like you're going to lift a weight and then this is going to happen. Like, but if you can't implement it and you can't stick to it, then it is pointless. It is not the best plan. So that is why behavior changes and just your mindset around diet and exercise has so much impact. It is like 95%, which is what my coaching ethos is all about. As I said, most people don't have an issue with losing weight, but most people have an issue with keeping off because they haven't learned this side. They do this side, but they haven't learned this side. So this program is about enabling you to become consistent on the things we need you to be consistent with for long-term results. Basically, all of these. Now you're going to probably look at these and be like, I like health and wellness and like guru, but it's true. This is what you need to do. When I mean mastering energy balance, I don't just mean about like learning about low calorie diets and being on it for the rest of your life. I mean like learning about how energy balance works. How do you gain weight? How do you lose weight? How do you maintain weight? What is a calorie? What is a macronutrient? Learning this so that you can then implement it into everyday life is gonna then, that's the key to keeping the weight off. The protein, you know, that is for a different webinar, but getting your protein, getting minimum protein in is so crucial. Like there's these guidelines, but to be honest, if you're resistant training, or you have any sort of active lifestyle, which everyone should be, you need a minimum of protein. Steps as well. So steps isn't just about, I wanted to include a picture, but I haven't, which is really annoying. But what I'll do is I will do another webinar on this next week too, as I don't want to bombard you with a lot of information in one go anyway. But steps is important because that's, it's important for metabolic health, but also it's important for just, if you, I'm going into it about the BMR, but basically calorie balance. So calories in, calories out, you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat. A lot of people think that over exercising is going to get them to where they need to be, but actually that is only equates for the whole equation of energy balance. That only accounts for 5%. Steps counts for between 20 to 30% of your BMR. So you can imagine that this is so important. Training as well, like the research shows that with weight loss is accelerated when someone participates in exercise. Again, I know I mentioned like a lot of people that they over-exercise, but it's finding the exercise that works for you. Now, I think my preferred method is resistance training, and there's so many different reasonings for it, and that will be for another video. But finding the exercise to actually be consistent with it, and hopefully you guys will find it as fun as I do, and you will be able to resistance train for the rest of your life. Water, fiber, fruit and veg, and sleep. There's, the thing is that it's so cliche to say all of these things and like, oh, if you do all of these things, you're going to be healthy. But I get it. It's not, all of these things, sleep for one, like I am, aside from this, I'm a night nurse, like a night veterinary nurse. So sleep for me is like, it's a very much a hit and miss. But I know from myself that if I don't sleep very well, this becomes really hard, and all of this comes really hard to implement. They're all interlinked with each other. Now, the goal is that with the Consistency Club, I am going to get you guys, by the end of the program, the idea is that you know what you're doing with this, and that you every week you're getting just that 1% better. Because if you can just get 1% better every month, every day, or every week, soon this will just become your everyday life. And that's the difference between this coaching program to other people. A lot of people, or a lot of like coaches, will expect you to be good at this all the time. They do your check-in, and if you haven't reached where you need to be, they're like, why have you not done that? That's not me. That's not what I'm about. I want to find where you are, meet you in the middle, and then work out getting 1% better. Coaching, like the key to coaching is becoming self-aware around our behaviors and finding ways to change our behaviors that align with our goals. That's what coaching is all about. So I don't know why that's really big and small, but anyway, the only way to lose body fat is being in the calorie deficit. As we mentioned about energy balance, this is why I think calorie counting is a really effective tool for weight loss. Like, yes, okay, at the end of the day, you can go to Slimming World, you're in a calorie deficit. You can do intermittent fasting, you're in a calorie deficit. There's so many different things you can do, but ultimately you're in a calorie deficit. So it makes sense to have the no bullshit approach and just look at calories as they are to learn how to be in a deficit. That's why I like it. But I do like to emphasize that it is a tool. A lot of people can get overly obsessed with it and they think it's like this die-hard thing that they need to do for the rest of their life. Absolutely not. It is a tool to give you a rough guide of the energy in different foods and what you need. And then once you get good at it, you might not even need to calorie count because you already have a rough idea what you're doing. Steps, as I mentioned, is a bigger part of the TDE equation, but I think I'm going to save that for another webinar because I think otherwise, we're already on 18 minutes. So over the next 8 weeks, we're going to work together on getting you 1% better each day at being consistent on our targets. And remember, we're looking for imperfect consistency, perfection. Oh my god, you could tell that I was writing this when I was tired. But anyway, we're going to keep it. I am not deleting this now because we're on 18 minutes or nearly 19 minutes. But the point that I'm trying to get across is that, as I've mentioned, I'm looking for imperfect actions. I'm looking for showing up the best situation you can. For example, I had a client one time that her car broke down. They were on a road trip, they were coming home, and the car broke down. Now, they had dinner planned, but of course with the road assistance and that, it took time. They were going to go to McDonald's and get something, but she thought, you know what, that doesn't align with my goals. It's the meal's not going to fill me up, and also I'm going to go over my calories. Instead, they went to the Tesco's, which was next to the McDonald's anyway, and they got a ready meal. That is what we call imperfect consistency. Did they go over their calories a little bit? Yes. But the point is that they managed to get everything they needed. They got all the macronutrients that they needed, and that is a lot better of a decision than going to McDonald's. And that's what I mean by imperfect action. So I'm going to leave this webinar now, and I will see you on the next one.